Well, you know.
What's up, everyone? I'm Axel of Axetruth.com, and this is where I cut through the bullshit. And I tell you, these teens, these black teens, are setting it off in America. Now, you know, I reported on carjackings here in Atlanta, and I had said that the age range for carjackings here was reported 11 and as young as 11. Well, now they're 10. Can you imagine being 10 years old, 10 years on this earth, and you are out? That it's possible that a 10-year-old would know how to steal a car, drive a car, any of that? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You know, remember back when Kyle Rittenhouse, the whole Kyle Rittenhouse, look over there distraction. The media made it out to be like it was some type of, like this white kid had a gun and he wasn't supposed to have a gun and he was this child. And all these black women had so much to say about it all over Facebook and Instagram and everywhere and TikTok. Tell me, that's a child. How did he get a gun? You know, just the audacity of these black women to sit up here and talk about children with guns when their kids have guns as young as 8 years old. I have a story on an 8-year-old. 8-year-old robbing. All video, sound, and music used during this broadcast falls under fair use. Fair use is allowed for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe on copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. So let's get into it.
A one-day joint operation to suppress crime results in the arrests of more than a dozen people. Half are juveniles police say are connected to auto thefts across Memphis. WREG's Jordan James joins us live with more details. And Jordan, I understand one of these suspects is extremely young.
Yeah, Shay, we're learning that one of the suspects is as young as 10 years old and likely still in elementary. As disturbing as that may be.
Still in elementary school.
That show that this has become a common trend.
It's the epidemic.
With carjackings on the rise across Memphis, so is the community's level of frustration.
It's off the chain, it's off the chart.
In an effort to cut down on auto thefts, Memphis and Bartlett police initiated a joint operation Thursday. Over the course of 24 hours, 14 arrests were made and 4 vehicles were recovered along with drugs and weapons.
The MPD and the current command staff is dedicated to doing everything we can.
Recent data from Memphis police shows there has been a 45% increase in carjacking since this time last year. Out of the 14 people arrested during the joint operation, 7 were juveniles, and officials say that has become very common.
We do have a lot of suspects who are juveniles. What we're seeing with the juveniles is they simply need a mode of transportation to get to point A to point B. So more vehicles are being taken by force.
The youngest juvenile arrested is only 10 years old. He is now charged with theft of property. Investigators say he either stole or attempted to steal a vehicle valued between $10,000 and $60,000.
We need to operate on a higher frequency.
Like so many Memphians, Oscar Robinson is disappointed about the number of youth engaging in crime, but says he doesn't fault them.
We have to change their culture, their mindset, period. You can't blame them. They...
You hear that? You can't blame them. Oh, you can't blame them. Well, who are you going to blame? It's the culture, it's the mindset. Well, wait till you hear what he's talking about. The culture and the mindset of what is given to these children and showed through media, music. It's sold to them. And the parents allow it. So if you can't blame the children, who can you blame? The parents? They should blame the parent. It ain't parents, the parent, the single black mama, or whoever's taking care of these crumb snatching kids. No, they ain't crumb snatchers. These carjacking kids.
Period. You can't blame them. They're born into this foolishness. You're dealing with their branch knowledge. We got to dig deep to the root of the problem.
A community searching for solutions amid the rise in crime.
And the latest data that we got from MPD suggested more juveniles have been charged in carjackings than adults. For now, reporting here live downtown, Jordan James, WREG.
More juveniles than adults. You can't blame them. It's they're born into what? That dude sounded like a fool. See, that's why you can't, but you know what? They put fools on television. They're born into it. So you're born into stealing cars. That's the new thing. You're born into it. This is disgusting. But yet, let's talk about racism at Chuck E. Cheese and these cartoon characters that are not saying hello to these black kids. That's what's traumatizing them, so they grow up to steal cars and rob and have illegal guns. These are all stolen guns along with stolen cars. And they're only stealing cars to get from point A to point B. Means they're getting the car just to commit another crime. Meaning that they are not stealing a particular brand or any car. Any car that moves, any car they can get, anyone they can rob. Can you imagine coming out and a 10-year-old holding a gun on you to take your car? What would you do? Would it be wrong if you were armed and you shot the kid? No, it would not. And I'm saying this, I'm going to go ahead and go on record. That is what's going to happen. They're going to run up on the wrong one. And I don't want to hear you black women talking about that's a kid. These kids are ruthless. They have guns, and they will use them. They don't give a damn about life. They don't care about their own. And obviously, the black women, the mothers of these kids, don't care about them either. They don't care about these kids. But what we need to do, and I want to know who is going to be the brave enough politician to put this into action to where, because this juvenile crime is an epidemic all over the country. They get a slap on the wrist. They go to juvie, then they're out to commit more crime. We can't try them as adults, but they're committing adult crimes. They can get charged as adult and spend adult time in jail because they're a child. So some politicians need to make sure that we pass laws that saying hold the parent or guardian responsible for their children that they're not raising and allowing this, I guess this system they're born into, this culture, to affect their children, because they're not raising them. Like I said, they ain't raising these kids. These kids are raising themselves. Everything I'm saying, I don't care what anyone says. You can't call me no coon for calling the truth out on these black children. These black children criminals. That's what they are. They're just criminals. But when something happens to one of them, the Black Lives Matter and all these black women are in the street trying to defend a criminal. That's why I said there's going to have to be a separation of blacks in this country. The reasonable black Americans that have common sense, that do not subscribe to this debauchery and black pathology, that does not encourage this and try to overlook it and say white people do it too, or some dumbass shit like that. It's racism because it's on the news. The news ain't supposed to report crime, and they're only reporting the news only report 10% of the crime. Barely a little over 10% of the crime that's happening in these areas. But it's always the usual suspects. Well, I have another story for you. Here we have a teenage boy dead that was trying to commit a robbery on the transit system. And the person was armed with a knife, and he used it. And now we have a 15-year-old dead. It was self-defense. He was getting robbed by more than one person. But even if it was just one person, that's why he's carrying a knife. People are going to be ready when they're out here dealing with these savages. And they're not going to play with them. And these kids are going to die at their own peril because their mothers don't give a damn about them. The politicians don't give a damn about them. The Democrat Party don't give a damn about them. They want black genocide. And the black church definitely don't give a damn about them. They can talk about everything up in that church, but they ain't talking about these bad kids that are criminals that are creating havoc throughout the whole country. It ain't just one city. It's not just Memphis. It's every city in this country where there are black youth committing crime. Now let's take a look at this. This is in Chicago.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being with us here at 4 o'clock. We start with another violent attack on the Red Line, leaving one person dead. And for the second time in 3 days, police say a victim fought back against the people who were robbing him.
CBS 2's Tara Molina continues to investigate crime on public transit. And Tara, police say the 15-year-old who died was armed.
Jim and Marie, based on the information they've given us so far, they say he had a gun and was part of a group of 7 that surrounded someone on the train today in an attempted robbery. They say that person pulled out a knife, ultimately stabbing the 15-year-old.
And you know what? He stabbed the 15-year-old who had a gun. He better had stabbed him before that 15-year-old used that gun on him.
So you have this individual on the train, you have a group of 7 people. One of them ups what appears to be a handgun based upon the evidence that has been given to us, by CTA. At that point, the person who appears to be being robbed takes out a knife, stabs that person with the gun. That person is now deceased.
CPD's head of detectives detailing the fatal stabbing here on West 63rd Street in Englewood early this morning. Now learning the person killed in the stabbing on the CTA was a 15-year-old boy. We know he ran to get help after being stabbed. He died at University of Chicago Medical Center this morning.
And you see how they're reporting it? He was a 15-year-old boy. He got stabbed. He had a gun. They were about to rob someone. He's not a victim here. I don't even like the way they're reporting this. The robber, who is 15, got stabbed. That's what happened.
Police say after reviewing CTA evidence, they believe he had a gun and was part of a group of 7 behind an attempted robbery surrounding a person on the train. That person pulled out a knife and stabbed the 15-year-old. Police believe he dropped the gun before leaving the train. Everyone else involved, including the person with the knife, took off too. The new details in this morning's investigation still active, similar to the stabbing we just told you about in Lincoln Park Friday, where the man a group was trying to rob also pulled out a knife, police said in self-defense, stabbing 3 of 6 attackers.
3 of 6 attackers. He's lucky he got away. What if they would have just kept on at him? He only had a knife. What if they had a gun? But you ain't got to you haven't heard the kicker. Wait till you hear what they say here. These people stood up for themselves. Did not let someone rob them. Did not let someone kill them trying to rob them. Defended themselves. But listen to this, what they're going to tell you to do now. This is Chicago.
Defense, something the CTA's VP of Security does not recommend with crime. Police said in self-defense, stabbing 3 of 6 attackers. Self-defense, something the CTA's VP of Security does not recommend with crime continuing to spike on public transit.
What the Chicago police will tell you to do is do not fight back, be compliant, do not put yourself in harm's way further.
Don't fight back. Be compliant with the criminal. That's what they're telling you. They just have to, because the criminals have free reign. Just be compliant. If they pull a gun out on you and shoot you, you're being just be compliant. You just got shot being compliant. There are people who get robbed. They act like they just robbing people and won't kill them. They will rob you and kill you. This is disgusting. When I heard him say that shit, just be compliant. Don't fight back. That's what they want.
Fight back, be compliant, do not put yourself in harm's way further.
He says there are 250 unarmed security guards now patrolling the entire CTA system daily with a goal to get to 300. Coming up at 6, we're taking a closer look at rising crime on the CTA and what city leaders say they're doing to stop it. Reporting live downtown.
Like you're going to have an officer on every CTA. You have enough staff to put an officer on every train, every compartment on the train track. Every train, there's going to be a cop there to stop violence, robberies with these children. 24 hours. I mean, as long as I think their training in Chicago is 24 hours. So you're gonna always have someone there. They have the staffing to do that. That's how they're gonna stop it. This is Blue State. This is the Black Lives Matter, defund the police, no cash bail policies of the liberal, because the criminals are being arrested, thrown in jail, and given unfair sentences because of their race, because of racism. So we need to be light on crime and defund the police and tell the citizens, if you're approached to be robbed by children, 10-year-olds with guns, just be compliant. Give them your car keys. Just walk away. Put your comments below. Tell me what you think about this video. Subscribe to my channel. Share the video. Join me tonight at 8:30 for Manic Monday. Be blessed, everyone.